Hey guys, my name is Lee West and I'm going to be your General Chemistry 1 professor for summer 2021. So a little bit about General Chemistry 1. General Chemistry 1 is the first course in the General Chemistry sequence that runs for a whole year. The sequence is normally taken by people that want to be STEM majors, so scientists and engineers, which includes medical sciences, of course. But sometimes people just take it because they want to take a lab class or they like the idea of taking chemistry. Now, the prerequisite for this class is Chemistry 139, and this class itself serves as the prerequisite for the organic chemistry sequence. Or not this class, this sequence of classes serves as the prerequisite for organic chemistry. So if you need organic chemistry, you need to be in general chemistry. Now, if you have any queries about whether you have the required prerequisite or whether this sequence of classes is the one that you want to be taking, just let me know and we'll get that worked out for you. Okay, let's get going. So I'm just going to move my head out of the way. There we go, we'll put me over there. So as I said, my name is Lee. Whoa! My name is Lee West. You can call me Dr. West or you can call me Lee, however you feel most comfortable. I'm not too fussed. I have an office in the Library and Science Building. That is room 131. It's kind of in the basement. Probably not going to be around much over summer, but we'll be back in the fall most of the time. You can phone me and leave a message, or if you're lucky you might actually get hold of me, and then if you do leave a message it actually gets forwarded to my email that I have your message and I can listen to that message via in my email, so that works pretty well if you hate email. You can also email me or you can send me a message via Canvas. It all goes to the same place, and that's probably most people's preferred way of getting hold of me. I have office hours every day, 11:30 to 12:30 in the early afternoon, and that's via Zoom. I normally send out a announcement about that each day just to kind of remind folks that if you've got any questions, come drop by. And then on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, I have a session where it's mainly focused on, or almost exclusively focused on solving problems for Chemistry 161. Occasionally we work on lab stuff, but most of the time we're just kind of like working problems either together or just me working problems. So I'll record those sessions that are on Wednesdays and publish them to Canvas as well if you can't make them. Okay, we have a textbook, but the good news is that it's available for free online from the OpenStax folks. So here's the link, and what I recommend doing is just like bookmarking that textbook. So in Chrome, if you click the little star in the corner on the menu bar, that'll bookmark it for you and you can easily get to the book. You will need a scientific calculator, or because this is an online class, you can use an equivalent to a scientific calculator like a website or an emulator. So some websites that people like to use are Desmos. My preferred one is actually Wolfram Alpha, because Wolfram Alpha was designed by a chemist, so it has a lot of really cool chemistry tools. And the other thing you can do if you don't want to use a website is you can use an emulator, and you can get these for your phones and so forth, as well as for your desktop machine. And the one I like to use is Wabbit emulator, Wabbit EMU, and that kind of emulates a Texas calculator. Now, keep in mind that you do want to kind of develop some skills using a handheld calculator, because probably in the winter, we're going to be back to full-time in person, and you'll be having to use a handheld calculator for your tests and stuff. Okay, the one thing that you do need to purchase that you really can't avoid purchasing is access to the ALEX system. You need this 10-digit code to do that. I've posted that code in a couple of places on Canvas where you can copy and paste it from. And if you don't have money for this right now, that's okay, because I've posted information to Canvas that gives you 2 weeks for free. And in that period, then if you can get the money together to enroll, then you're good for the summer quarter. Now, if you're anticipating not being able to pay for it within that 2 weeks free period, then reach out to me and we'll try and organize some funding for you. All right, so I think that that's kind of all of the logistics, you're probably interested in what kind of assignments you're going to need to do. So it's not that different from a in-person class, except for, you know, we do a lot more stuff online than what we would do in person. So every week there's like a module to work through. The modules kind of have a similar structure. At the top of the module are a bunch of videos that run through the content. Then there are normally like some resources, which might be like files that you can download, or sometimes there's like other links to other websites and stuff like that. That kind of like just help you review the content and practice applying the content. And then at the bottom of the module are a bunch of assignments. So something to be aware of is that you're going to get a to-do list, and it's going to list the assignments that you need to do for each module. But I think what often happens is people kind of skip over watching the videos and having a look at the resources and things like that, and they just focus on those assignments. And those assignments can be pretty slow going if you haven't sort of engaged with the content beforehand. So I highly recommend like kind of, you know, giving yourself enough time to read the book, watch the videos, whatever it is you like to do to review the content before diving into the assignments. And in particular, the ALEX objectives can be really slow going if you haven't reviewed the content, or if you're trying to review the content and simultaneously do the objectives, then you can kind of get into trouble. All right, so what are these assignments you're going to have to do? Well, the first assignment that we get you to do in the early part of the week is to read the book and review the video lectures and make some notes. Now, we're going to be making notes in the Cornell format, which is like super easy. That just keeps everybody consistent so that I can use the same grade, the same rubric to grade everybody. Now, we want you to engage with the content, you know, and get that completed fairly early in the week. So we're asking that you get those notes in by midnight on Tuesdays. Now, there is one exception to that, is that in the first week, because we had the holiday Monday, I've stretched out the due date for these till Thursday. So just to give you a little bit of time to get that done, all right? So you don't have just the one day. Every week you'll have to work through a series of ALEX objectives. These are basically your homework problems, and how ALEX works is it believes that you have completed an objective when you get 3 in a row correct. Now, the thing to be aware of though is when you get one wrong, it backs you up. So if you get one wrong, right, what it's going to do is it backs you up one, and now you have to get another 2 correct. So it really kind of rewards you for doing the slow and steady effort and being very cautious with your work. And we want you to get the objectives done by Friday 11 o'clock. So having finished the you know, practicing, working with the content, then you're ready to be assessed on it. And so how we're going to assess you is through labs, quizzes, and tests. Okay, so most weeks you have a lab assignment. You're going to upload a file to Canvas in PDF format. If you're uncertain about making PDFs, I've put a little video in there that shows how you can use your phone's camera to create a PDF. And your labs need to be done by Sunday midnight. Now, labs are worth around about 5% per lab. So you don't want to be messing your labs up, and you need to understand that we're looking for, you know, college level work that looks like you spent a week on it, right? You know, it looks like something that you slowly worked on over the course of a week. It needs to be pretty good because it's worth 5% of your grade. What I recommend is that you submit a draft to me, you know, by around about Wednesday, Thursday, so I have time to get back to you before the end of the working week. So really you want to begin working on your lab as soon as you can. You know, you really want to be working on your lab from the earlier part of the week, and you know, you can stretch it out to get a draft to me on Fridays, but you know, you need to be aware that the closer it gets to sort of like 5 p.m. Friday, the poorer quality my feedback is, because I've got 48 of these to have a look at every week, and if you send yours in at 4 p.m. on Friday, you might be right at the bottom of the pile and for me to get through, and your feedback might not be good. So if you can get it in early in the week, then I can give you some really good feedback on it. So you want these to be high quality, right? These need to be these are significant pieces of work, and they're not meant to be done you're not meant to start them at sort of like 9 o'clock Sunday night and hope for the best. That would be foolish, because it's really difficult to get any help at 9 o'clock on Sunday night, right? Because I'm like, I don't know, relaxing, watching a movie, gearing up for the week at work, right? Okay, most weeks when we don't have a test, you're going to have a ALEX quiz. Now, ALEX is really bad at assigning partial credit. In fact, it makes no attempt to assign partial credit. ALEX can't tell whether you're on the right track, but you just entered something wrong into your calculator. So what we're going to do for every quiz is you're going to upload a PDF with your handwritten work that shows how you arrived at every answer. And this is really important, and you want to keep this work neatly organized, and you want to have every question numbered. You want to make sure you got all your units in there, all of that kind of stuff, and then that's actually what I'm going to grade, right? So you'll upload your worked answers for your ALEX quiz every week to Canvas, just like you would your lab. So make sure you get that in, because it really hits your partial credit if you don't do that. If you don't do that, I just have to take the grade from ALEX, and it's normally a lot lower than what it would be if I could actually grade your work. All right, there are 3 tests that normally cover like 2 or 3 modules that are scattered throughout the quarter. They're administered through ALEX, and again, you'll upload a file to Canvas that shows how you arrived at each answer. Keep that work organized, number every question. You don't have to do it in sequence, but number every question clearly, include all your units, all of that kind of stuff, just like you were doing a regular pen and paper test. Okay, at the end of the quarter, there's a final exam. It's on the Wednesday of the final weeks. I think it's Wednesday, August the 25th, and that covers all of the material presented during the quarter. Again, same deal, file upload to Canvas and enter your answers into ALEX. So you kind of get into the groove for doing this. Make sure you give yourself enough time to study for the final exam. Now, something to be aware of. Summer quarter, 7 weeks, plus finals week. Regular quarter, say like 4 quarter, 11 weeks, and finals. Okay, so we're on a pretty reduced schedule. Okay, so be prepared for that. Be aware that if you've got a birthday party or a family function or some kind of event that's going to take you out for a day or 2 in the week, then you need to plan accordingly, because this is going to hit you harder than normal, right? You kind of really need to be doing a little bit every day in order to catch up. So to catch up this like 4 weeks, So just be mindful of that. Be super organized with your time. I think when I look at my student evaluations and the comments that students have about being successful in this class, they always mention time management, that being organized with your time is a really important thing. And they normally also mention that the labs are a little tricky, so you want to be kind of like taking advantage of my offer to help you with the lab, rather than leaving it to a time when you can't get help, right? Okay, so that was a lot of text. So kind of for those visual people, this is kind of like how I've sort of structured every module. The early part of the week, whoa, it keeps doing that. The earlier part of the week up to Tuesday, you're just kind of studying the content, watching some videos, reading the book. You don't need to do everything, but whatever is your preferred method for engaging with the content, you need to spend time doing that, and you're going to make notes to show me that you've done that, and then those notes are going to be the resource that you use for everything else. So we want good notes that you can use for a test, that you're going to be able to use in the final, that you can use when you're working on Alex. The idea is that these notes are not just busy work. That's the stuff that's going to stop you from crashing and burning and allow you to get through the rest of the content, in a reasonable amount of time. Everybody can do this. It doesn't really demonstrate whether you learn anything, so it's not worth many points, right? It's just kind of a little carrot there to make sure that it gets done. Then you spend, the middle of the week practicing, applying the content. Your main way you're going to be doing this is through your Alex objectives. Alex objectives are just graded for completion, so you can attempt each problem as many times as you want. It doesn't, you don't get penalized for getting it wrong the first time. You can spend a lot of time here if you want to. Just be aware that this is only worth a little bit of your grade, because again, we're not assessing whether you learn anything, because it's just graded on completion. Now, the activities that you do at the end of the week, and if you're, sort of rushed for time and you're busy in the week over the weekend perhaps, is where you get assessed. This is where you're going to be demonstrating whether you learn anything. And these are your quizzes, your tests, your final exam, and your labs, right? So they make up the really big part of your grade. So they're the things that you want to make sure that you leave enough time for to do well, right? And so sometimes people get bogged down in the objectives. It's objectives is for practice, but you can see that it's not a lot of points, right? You really want to make sure that you do well on things like your labs and stuff, right? You really want to make sure that you spend enough time you give enough time to study for the final, things like that, right? Again, like I said, I keep hearing this, that the key to success is good time management, doing a little bit of work every day, and having a plan for the week. So if you know that something's coming up on Friday that's going to take you out for the day, it's not going to wipe you out, and you're not going to end up with late assignments and getting late penalties and all of that kind of stuff. All right. So I hope you found that helpful, and good luck with everything, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you all sometime soon. All right, bye.